FPL Game Week 35 Wildcard team. What is up everyone, how's it going? Hope we're keeping well and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. We are only halfway through Game Week 34 at the moment, but I have been inundated with messages asking for a wildcard draft, so here you are, this is the video for you. Before we get into today's video, quick reminder to give the video a like and let's hit a like goal of 80 likes on this video. So head on down there, drop the video a like, and if you are watching this video and you're not subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button below. We're trying to hit 6k subs before the end of the season. We're getting there. We have a bit of work to do, but we are very close. So if you are watching and you're not subscribed, click subscribe down there and support the channel and help me reach that milestone before the end of the season. Right then, we've lots to discuss. Let's get into the video. So before you activate your wildcard, there are a few things you're going to have to consider first, and starting off with double game week 37 in mind. And if you are looking to use your bench boost that week, that means with your wildcard this week, you're going to have to build a 15-man squad and look towards using your bench boost in game week 37 by having 15 double game week players and try to get as many points as possible that week. Looking at double game week 37, there are 6 teams that double that week: Man United, Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea, Spurs and Brighton. So our game week 35 wildcard team is going to focus on these teams that are doubling that week. Chelsea and Spurs both have a double game week this week, and they also double again then in game week 37, so they've got the most fixtures left for the rest of the season. And with these additional fixtures, it's probably advisable to triple up on these teams and try to get as many double game weeks as possible and try to get as many points on the board as possible too. With the game week 35 wildcard this week, you're also going to have to ask yourself the question whether or not you want Arsenal or Liverpool assets in your team. Liverpool and Arsenal don't double this week, and then they also don't double in game week 37, so we might want to focus just on the teams who are doubling and try to get as many points on the board as possible here too. Man City, Newcastle and United all have the best fixtures in game week 35 and game week 36 before the double then in game week 37, so it's going to be advisable then to triple up on these teams also. So at the moment we're looking to triple up on Spurs, triple up on Chelsea, triple up on Newcastle, triple up on United and triple up on City to make our 15 players. Right then, let's move on now and have a look at our game week 35 wildcard team and how we're lining up. So starting off in goals, I've got Onana of Man United and Vicario of Spurs for your 2 goalkeepers on your game week 35 wildcard. Starting off with Vicario, he does have that double game week this week, albeit a relatively difficult one against Arsenal and Chelsea. Onana's up against Burnley at home this weekend, but I'd still play Vicario with that double game week, and if he does get some save points over the 2 games, you'd expect in the region of 4 to 6 points over the double game week. To be fair to the two of them, they do rotate pretty decent as well. In game week 36, when Vicario has Liverpool, Onana has Crystal Palace, so you can sub Onana back into the team for game week 36. Then the two of them have the double game week each in game week 37, and then in game week 38 for the last game week of the season, you can play Vicario away to Sheffield United. I was considering Petrovic as well for some Chelsea defensive cover in goals, but I am expecting Rob Sanchez to come back into the team before the end of the season, and he might get 1 or 2 games before the end of the season also. 2 goalkeepers then, 1 double game week this week and 2 double game weeks in game week 37 when you are using your bench boost, so that's a decent start to the wildcard. Let's move on to the defenders. Moving on to the defence, we've got our double game week 37 in mind, along with the bench boost in game week 37 in mind by choosing this defence, and we've gone with Dalot, Gusto, Kyle Walker, Cher and Pedro Porro, as all these 5 defenders have 2 fixtures in game week 37, and this will give us a very strong bench boost from that week. Starting off with Pedro Porro, he does have that double game week this week, albeit a difficult one for defensive returns up against Arsenal and Chelsea, but there's always a chance of some attacking returns from Porro. He has a slight injury risk at the moment, but Spurs have said he should be okay for the weekend. If it sounds like Pedro Porro will miss one of the games, or if he's going to miss out on the double game week completely, you can always look towards Emerson Royal for a cheap way into that Spurs defence. Udogie is going to be out for the rest of the season now after he posted on Instagram at the weekend, so we're going to have to ignore Udogie. So if Pedro Porro is out, we'll just have to focus on Emerson Royal and get that Spurs asset in defence. Similar to Onana and Vicario, Dalot can rotate well with Pedro Porro up until the rest of the season, and Dalot's probably the most attacking asset out of those United defenders, so that's why I'll be looking towards him with the double game week in mind in game week 37 along with the bench boost. Kyle Walker is our first Man City asset in this game week 35 wildcard team, and Man City are up against Wolves and Nottingham Forest before that double game week in game week 37, so you'd be expecting to see some Man City clean sheets over the next few games. Kyle Walker is probably the safest route into that Man City defence. I was looking at Verdial as well, but Nathan Ake returned to the starting 11 in the FA Cup game against Chelsea at the weekend, so you'd probably expect Ake and Verdial to share some minutes for the rest of the season. Gusto is up next in defence, and he has that double game week this week. Maybe a relatively difficult one for defensive returns up against Aston Villa and Spurs, but there's always a chance he can get an attacking return in his attacking right wing back role. He has a double game week then in game week 37, so he's a good addition for the bench boost. And comparing him to Petrovic, I'm not expecting Reece James to come back into the team before the end of the season. And with Petrovic, I probably expect Rob Sanchez to play 1 or 2 games before the rest of the season, with the season pretty much over for Chelsea. Share completes our 5-man defence, and he's got some great run of fixtures before the double game week up against Sheffield United and Burnley, and then he adds that double game week in game week 37, so I'm expecting some good returns for Newcastle defence over the next few games. That's the 5-man defence out of the way. Let's move on to the midfield. It's the same story with the midfield as it is in defence, as we've got our focus on the double game week in mind in game week 37 and the focus of the bench boost, and that's the reason why we're going with Bruno Fernandes, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Anthony Gordon and Heung-min Son in midfield, with all these players doubling in game week 37 when we'll be using our bench boost. Starting off with Cole Palmer, he needs absolutely no explanation of why he makes the team. He's got a double game week this week in game week 35, followed by another double game week then in game week 37. He's a strong candidate for the Ironman this week, and he's chasing down that golden boot, and that's why he's in the team. Yeah, no explanation needed on Cole Palmer. Let's move on quickly. And our other double game week asset this week, Heung-min Son completes a triple up of our Spurs assets, and he's up against Arsenal and Chelsea over the course of the double game week. Slightly tough fixtures as we're saying for Spurs, but I am expecting Son to do well over the double game week. He also has a double game week then in game week 37 when we'll be using our bench boost, and then a lovely end to the season up against Sheffield United in game week 38, so we'll be expecting some good returns for Son for the rest of the season. I've then got Bruno Fernandes as my third Man United asset, and United have a decent run of fixtures for the rest of the season, up against Burnley at home in game week 35, followed by Crystal Palace in game week 36, a double game week in game week 37 when we'll be using your bench boost, and then to finish off the season away to Brighton in game week 38, so you will be expecting some good returns for Bruno for the rest of the season. I've also gone Bruno Fernandes as he is on penalties, and he's probably the most secured United asset for minutes over the next couple of weeks. You could go Garnacho also, but you have the money available here with this team for Fernandes. With Garnacho, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ahmed, Anthony and Rashford all share minutes for the rest of the season, so Bruno's definitely the safer pick, and that's why he's in the team. Phil Foden is my second Man City asset in this team. City have a great run of fixtures up until the rest of the season, with Wolves and Nottingham Forest, followed by a double game week in game week 37, and then they face West Ham at home on game week 38. So a great run of fixtures for City. I'm expecting a lot of minutes for Foden over the next couple of weeks, with City knocked out of the Champions League and the focus mainly on winning that title, and Foden has arguably been City's best player all season, so I can't see him being rotated over these games. Anthony Gordon completes my 5-man midfield with another great run of fixtures for Newcastle up until the rest of the season, Burnley and Sheffield United before a double game week in game week 37, so I'm expecting some good returns for Anthony for the rest of the season, and that's why he makes the team. That's the midfield out of the way. Let's move on to our 3 strikers up front. Alexander Isak, Erling Haaland and Nicholas Jackson completes this wildcard team, and starting off with Isak, he's been in brilliant form over the last few weeks with only 1 blank in his last 6 games. We've already spoke about Newcastle's running, with Newcastle playing Sheffield, Burnley, followed by a double game week in game week 37, and then Brentford away on the last game week of the season, so we'll be expecting a lot of returns for Isak for the running. Callum Wilson has returned to training for Newcastle, but I'm not expecting Isak to lose a spot with Isak in the running for the golden boot. I'll just be expecting him to play 70 to 80 minutes now instead of the 90 minutes he has been playing over the last few weeks. I've gone with Nicholas Jackson as my third Chelsea asset. I've gone with double Chelsea attack over double defence, with some difficult fixtures for defensive returns for Chelsea against Aston Villa and Spurs, so I preferred Nicholas Jackson for the chance of some attacking returns over the double game week. He is on 9 yellow cards at the moment, so if he does get a yellow against Arsenal on Tuesday night, he will miss the double game week, so we'll have to keep a close eye on that. Who else but Erling Haaland to complete our wildcard squad with a great run of fixtures for City for the season running. Erling Haaland was left out of the squad for the FA Cup game against Chelsea at the weekend, so we're going to have to keep a close eye if he does make the squad for the Brighton game, or if he's going to be fit for the weekend game against Nottingham Forest. With this wildcard squad, it gives you 6 double game week players for the double game week in game week 35, a bench and headache in game week 36, and then 15 double game week players for your bench boost in game week 37. If you've made it to the end of this video, please give it a like, drop a comment below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's hit a like goal of 80 likes on this video, so head on down there, drop the video a like, and if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, please do click subscribe and support the channel. As I said, I'm trying to hit 6k subs before the end of the season, so if you are watching and you're not subscribed, head on down there, click subscribe and support the channel and help me on my way to hitting that milestone before the end of the season. I'll see you all during the week for a Game Week 35 team selection video, and hopefully we'll get a green arrow after Game Week 34 is finished. Thanks for watching, best of luck for the week, I'll see you in the next video.